Alright, welcome to another episode of Brainwashed by the Pop Culture. I'm your host, Jan Kalina, and as you can see, I'm not sitting in front of a computer screen this time, and I'm missing my usual co-host, Tom. Instead, however, I am at this beautiful arthouse cinema, Edison Filmhub, and I'm gonna be joined by another movie buff, by a fellow movie buff, Ryan Keating, who hails all the way from Australia and somehow ended up here in Prague. And here at Edison Filmhub, he runs very special events, and he's usually the host of them as well. But I guess he's gonna tell you more about it now. Here he is.
Hi, thanks for having me.
Pleasure. So, who are you? Why are we here? And what are we doing here?
Sure. So, well, first of all, thank you so much for having me. I'm very excited that you guys came. Edison Filmhub, I've worked here it'll be 5 years in October. I started doing an English-friendly film night, which is every Monday, called Movie Barf Monday, which I started because I used to have a blog here in the Czech Republic, writing about films, covering festivals, doing reviews, things like that, all in English. So I kind of took that to the cinema, and started this film night. And now it's been 5 years, and since January, I've been working here full time, doing events and a bunch of stuff, really.
Are you still writing on that blog, or?
I'm not, no, not anymore. I kind of used the blog as a way to learn more about writing while I was studying. At university, I was studying film studies, like screen studies, which means screen analysis and history. And I also studied journalism. So I kind of used that as this vehicle to sort of practice writing. And then the pandemic came, and there weren't many, obviously, films coming out in the cinemas. And I thought, okay, now's a great chance to take a break. I'm still on that break 4 years later, so I haven't gone back to it.
But it seems that you are using your degree.
Yeah, in a way, yes. I love, I suppose, if you can call it reporting, I don't really know what you call it, reviewing, discussing films after the events that we have, the events that I organize, including the Movie Barf Monday. Every Monday, I give an introduction to the film. And then we have a Q&A, like a post-screening discussion afterwards, where I will invite a guest, whether that be somebody who worked on the film and who's in the film, or somebody who is maybe a critic, which happens quite often as well, so we kind of review the film, or maybe a professional that studied a particular topic that's really prevalent in the film.
All right. Well, then, I guess give me some examples of what is it specifically that you do here?
So, I run the events, mainly events for foreigners, including the Movie Barf Mondays, which I already mentioned. We also do some special events, kind of festivals, mini festivals. Recently, we did a Hellboy weekend to celebrate the 20th anniversary of Guillermo del Toro's Hellboy from 2004.
Which is quite connected to Prague, well, especially the first one.
Exactly, yeah. So I thought that was a great opportunity. I love those movies. I love the comics. I started reading the comics when I was here in the Czech Republic, and there's even one of the short stories in the comics is set in Prague about a vampire, which is super cool.
Is it one about the bureau, or is it just Hellboy?
It's Hellboy. Yeah,
right.
it's just Hellboy. It's great, yeah. And so we thought that we would do something cool, and I think we're going to talk about it later, actually, but to kind of bring people into the cinema, it's not just about screening a movie anymore, obviously, since the pandemic. And
sure. You allude to the question that I had in mind. There's been a lot of talk since the pandemic about how to bring moviegoers back, and I think now in 2024 it's not even going that well, as I read some report from America and so on. Like Europe had a good year last year. Like France was okay. All right. Back to I guess Fandom,
Mm-hmm.
since cosplaying is part of that, and I mean I'm a big believer in, you know, you show your fandom, your pop culture, and such. And I mean, I see you have tattoos. There's Donnie Darko.
I do, yeah.
I see Nadine from Twin Peaks.
No, actually, everyone thinks that. Well, that's the first time I've heard Nadine from Twin Peaks, which is interesting. So, she's not actually from Twin Peaks. A lot of people think that it is Daryl Hannah from Kill Bill. It's also not her. She is not film related. She is a journalist named Marie Colvin, who was an amazing war journalist.
Oh, okay. The Rosamund Pike film.
Yeah, exactly. That was a movie with Rosamund Pike. There's also an amazing documentary called Under the Wire. She was incredible. She unfortunately died in Syria, which is horrible. But when I was studying, she was kind of my inspiration. And when I finished studying, I got a tattoo of her to sort of
You mentioned
celebrate.
that before.
Probably, yeah. But the movie, both of the movies, the documentary and the film with Rosamund Pike, which is called A Private War, I believe, is really, really good. So I'd highly recommend seeing them. Yeah, Donnie Darko, yeah, that's the thing. I think with tattoos, people expect a story for each of them. Some of these have a story, and then some of them don't have any story, which I think is also fine. Like, you know, this one has a big story. That's a bone. That's a cupcake. That's vampire teeth. They don't really mean anything special.
And, I mean,
but
you just go to a tattoo shop. And
yeah,
just pick
so
it. That's it.
Well, I either pick something that my tattoo artist Anna has done already, or I bring something to her. And all of the movie ones I've kind of brought to her. This is River Phoenix. He's my favorite actor. Yeah.
Oh, I don't think it's that recognizable who it is from the tattoo.
Yeah. I think a lot of people are unsure. Well, for both of them, they don't really know.
Twin Peaks character, actually.
Could be, yeah. Well, Twin Peaks, I'm sorry, you can't really see, because I just got a new tattoo yesterday. That's why this looks really ugly. It's in the plastic thing that I have to keep there for a few days. But this one is a Twin Peaks one. It's an owl with the forest and also the floor of the Black Lodge.
Okay, alright.
And then I have one, I don't know if you can see here, the two women. I know it's upside down, but it's Ghost World. The girls from Ghost World.
Okay, alright, yeah.
And then I have so many. It depends how much time you have. I mean, these are from Mad Max, which are new. The most elaborate one I have is on this arm, and it's my favorite film, which is Cloud Atlas. And it's a mural, which is in the movie. And I actually always loved this movie right after I saw it here in Prague, and I think 2012 or something is when it came out.
Yeah.
And I was looking at this mural online in the film, and I was really obsessed with it. And then one day I met a storyboard artist and concept artist here in Prague, Kurt van der Bosch, and I found out that he actually did this mural, which was just crazy to know that the whole time this guy was in Prague. So I asked him, can I get your mural as a tattoo? And he said, absolutely. Maybe I should take this off because I'm talking about it and you can't see it, which is ridiculous.
Maybe we can get a close-up of it.
Yeah, so it's huge, and it's probably the only really colorful tattoo that I have, but it's all sort of, all of the stories, 6 stories, which kind of link together and go through the timeline, finishing in Sonmi there. But yeah, it's quite old now. I got it years and years ago. But Kurt, he sent it to Tom Tikwa, one of the directors, who really, really liked it, and I think maybe it was 2 years ago, I met the author of the book, David Mitchell.
He was here at the book festival, yeah.
Exactly, yeah. And
I've been to that Q&A.
Oh, cool. Okay, yeah, I was there, and I showed him the tattoo, and he loved it, and he took a picture and he sent it to the Wachowskis, which is really, really nice. So yeah, it's got a lot of importance for me there. But
I love Cloud Atlas, by the way.
It's fantastic.
I love that film.
It's
my
my favorite
amazing
ever.
How it works so well, and it's one of the few films where I don't mind the runtime.
Yeah, me neither.
Because like I'm very adamant about like runtimes being normal, and now everything
same.
is just crazy
Super long. Yeah.
I mean, like even the upcoming Mad Max film.
Yeah.
I don't think it needs to. Is it? It's longer than Mad Max Fury Road.
It
right?
is,
Fury
yeah. And
it's longer.
there's an action sequence I think that goes for 20 minutes that took 78 days to film, which is
It just
crazy.
kind of scares me because even
Yeah.
with Extraction 2, there was the one shot sequence on the train and helicopters, and I don't know, you just get bogged down by it. I just want it to end.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know. It depends. I agree with you. I don't like a lot of these long run times. Now everything is really long, but it depends on the filmmaker. And if it's an action movie like Furiosa, I think it will be great. I think it will be super action-packed, really emotional, really engaging, like Fury Road, and I think we will like it. And I'm hoping that we won't notice the runtime.
I'm a big fan of George Miller. I
Yeah,
mean,
me
I
too.
actually like his, off the wall stuff like
Happy Feet?
not Happy Feet. I never seen Happy Feet actually. 3,000 Years of Longing.
Okay,
That was released during the pandemic.
I didn't see this actually. I haven't seen it yet.
Should.
I want to see it.
I mean, visually it's amazing, and I mean the story is beautiful. It's a fairy tale for adults.
Yeah. No, I definitely need to.
All right. So.
So.
Is this Scooby-Doo?
No, it's Smashing Pumpkins. It's the logo for the band The Smashing Pumpkins, but it's also used in Scott Pilgrim versus the World. He wears it as a teacher and SP, so it's kind of double meaning, Smashing Pumpkins and Scott Pilgrim.
Oh, so that's a reference. I didn't know. I didn't listen to Smashing Pumpkins.
Yeah. Well, both of these are references to Scott Pilgrim. Both the Smashing Pumpkins logo and Pac-Man, Pacu Pacu.
Yeah. Pacu,
Yeah.
So you have.
Yeah. So.
So that's a Dracula.
Yeah, that's. Well, it's not even Dracula. It's just a vampire drinking a pumpkin spice latte. Which there's absolutely no reason for that whatsoever. There's no story, nothing. I just thought it was funny. Yeah, kind of. Yeah, I think it was like a Halloween flash tattoo. That was the point of it. This one, I'm sorry that it looks so horrible again because it's got the plastic on it. But this is from maybe if I do it like that, you can see it a little bit better. It's from a movie in the mid-90s called The Doom Generation. Directed by Greg Araki, and it's like a nightmarish kind of California road trip movie about these punk metalheads. There's a lot of bisexuality, there's a lot of violence, so naturally I absolutely love it. It's kind of like a even more fucked up, can I say fuck? Or
yeah. I
okay,
mean, we
good.
don't rate this for kids on YouTube, so...
It's an even more fucked up version of Natural Born Killers, something like that, and much more queer as well. And I watched it recently because I knew some films by Greg Araki, but this film is the second one in his teenage apocalypse trilogy, which is 3 movies in the 90s, all starring James Duval, who was amazing. The first one is called Totally Fucked Up, the second one is The Doom Generation, and the third one is Nowhere.
Was that released in cinemas with that title?
Yeah, it would have been probably with the asterisks instead of the actual word.
Okay, alright.
To get it past.
So you're into horror films?
I love horror films so much. These aren't specifically horror, but there are definitely some horror elements to them, but they're really just kind of, I don't know, really wild, offensive and fun queer punk films from the 90s. And I absolutely love them. I'm obsessed with Greg Araki now. I'm watching everything. And another one that I got yesterday, again, sorry it looks so ugly because it's in the plastic, but at the beginning of a few of his movies, he says, another homo movie by Greg Araki. So I got that here as well, another homo movie by Greg Araki. I just thought it was funny.
Got it.
Yeah. But
as you know, I mean, like every episode we have like Nicolas Cage and da da da.
Yeah.
So, what's your take on Nicolas Cage? Do you like Nicolas Cage?
I mean, honestly,
hate him? I mean, there's a lot of people who don't like his style of acting and
I'm kind of
films.
indifferent to him. I always have been. Like I don't hate him. I don't love him. He's fine. He's there. I love some of the movies he's in.
It's like Tom Petty. You cannot, not like Tom Petty. So like, how can you not like Nicolas Cage? I mean, Face Off as
well, yeah, sure.
Is a great film, for example.
It is great, and stuff like Con Air. I mean, I think there are these different periods of Nicolas Cage.
That's his action movie period.
Yeah, exactly, and some of those were fun for sure. Like the ones we just mentioned, and I liked the movies when he was younger, like Wild at Heart, Lynch. I really love that film.
With your unofficial David Lynch tattoos,
which
are not David Lynch tattoos.
My Twin Peaks ones, and the ones that look like Lynch tattoos but aren't.
Have you seen some of his recent films? Because he made quite a comeback to quality filmmaking.
Yeah.
So I think you would enjoy, given the films you like, Dream Scenario.
Yeah, I saw it. We actually screened it here and had a discussion afterwards. And I quite liked it. It felt like a Michel Gondry or Spike Jonze sort of movie. It was very dreamy, very funny, had a lot to say. I didn't love it. I liked him in it, for sure. But Chris...
He got a Golden Globe nomination for it.
Yeah, he was good in it, but I'm trying to remember, this is really bad, but I'm trying to remember the name of the director. It's Christoph. He's Norwegian and also did Sick of Myself, which was a huge movie for us here in Edison. And both Sick of Myself and Dream Scenario.
Name as well.
I feel so bad that I'm really bad with names. But both of those movies are very much about, I guess, social media ruining things. Dream Scenario has this cancel culture element to it, which is interesting. But both of them have characters that aren't very likable. None of them are very likable, and sometimes I'm affected by this.
Is the other film from him the one where she fakes the disease?
Yeah, by taking these illegal pills from Russia.
At some point, it's kind of unwatchable.
Yeah. But unwatchable in a good way.
Yes, in a good way.
It's so cringy, I guess.
It's an interesting film because... who hasn't had that idea to kind of do something so you are liked?
Yeah, exactly.
I mean, both characters in those films, Nicolas Cage in Dream Scenario, and Sometimes I Hate Myself?
Yeah.
Okay.
No,
I forget the title.
Sick of Myself.
Oh, okay. I mean, both characters just want to be liked.
They do.
Popular.
Yeah, absolutely. But the ways they go about it are kind of, especially in Sick of Myself, it's wow. It's my colleague often refers to it as like cringe comedy, and there's a lot of that in both of those films for sure. But yeah, Dream Scenario was cool. It was definitely cool. But as I said before, I love horror, and I love where Nicolas Cage has kind of gone with horror in the past, I don't know, decade or so with Mandy, and Willy's Wonderland. What other ones were there? Color Out of Space. I absolutely loved Color Out of Space. I thought that was phenomenal. This really twisted version of Lovecraft's story, Color Out of Space, and it's directed by Richard Stanley, who disappeared for years. He made this disastrous film, The Island of Dr. Moreau, in the 90s in Queensland, where I'm from, actually, in Australia, just up north. And it was an absolute nightmare. Marlon Brando and Val Kilmer were on set arguing. There were so many drugs. There were orgies on the set. It was completely nuts. And he was fired. And he really disappeared from filmmaking. And then he came back for Color Out of Space, which is a really fun movie. So with Nicolas Cage as well. So have you seen it?
I have seen Color Out of Space, and I didn't like
it. Yeah. I love it.
I haven't seen Mandy.
And Mandy's great. Mandy's really good.
I did like Willy's Wonderland.
I didn't like that one as much as the other ones. I like the idea of it because I love that video game.
Five Nights at Freddy's.
Exactly,
basically.
yeah.
Unofficially.
And Five Nights at Freddy's, that video game, is absolutely terrifying and genius. But I think I enjoyed Willy's Wonderland more than Five Nights at Freddy's, the movie, because Five Nights at Freddy's movie was just kind of bad. So I thought Willy's Wonderland was...
I don't have the comparison. I haven't seen Five Nights at Freddy's.
Yeah, it's not very good. A lot of video game adaptations aren't good, except for some recent ones. Sonic was kind of fun, yeah.
No, Sonic is amazing.
Yeah?
I love it. I love it.
I don't know if I saw the second one, but I heard the second one was even better.
The second one is even better, yeah. Like, seriously, like, it takes from the games, mythos, and you have Jim Carrey going even more berserk.
Yeah,
so, like,
yeah.
I think everybody likes the 90s Jim Carrey, so it's nice to see him back.
Yeah, exactly.
And I think that's going to be the last thing he's going to do. Like, he returns for the third one now in December, and I don't see him doing anything else. But I think he's glad to do it, like, you know, for the fans.
I think, absolutely. It's a lot of fun, Sonic. It wasn't bad. But some of the recent video game adaptations, like Fallout, is amazing. If you watch that, I love the games, and this is a great series. Really, really
I got
good.
you on camera here.
Yeah.
Can you explain Fallout? Because I watched the first episode and I didn't understand it. I'm afraid to say. Like, so you start at the vault, and then it cuts to something completely different.
So the
and how
idea
is that supposed to make sense to someone who didn't play the games? I have no idea what's going on.
So the idea is they explain everything in a backstory in the first couple of episodes, but essentially Fallout is set in this alternate version of our reality, a different kind of timeline, I suppose, where the microprocessing chip was never invented. So technology never really progressed past nuclear energy, and they harness nuclear energy for everything. And it's kind of like being in this universe where nothing ever evolved past the 1950s. Everything looks like the 50s, the cars, the music, everything, but like a futuristic version of the 50s.
Sure.
And then the bombs fell, everything was bombed, leveled, and then the Earth just becomes a kind of wasteland. And this is obviously set in the US. And people that were wealthy enough or had the opportunity, they moved into vaults. These vaults underneath to either sleep or live and wait out for the radiation to subside enough so they could go up to the surface.
I got that.
So that's the main thing about it.
What are the nights that come in later?
It's a really long story. I mean,
the rest of the...
There are... it makes sense. There are lots of different factions in the game. Lots of different people in the Wasteland groups.
So the Wasteland is not a wasteland, or...?
Yeah, it's absolutely a wasteland. Everything is destroyed, but there are some people that have survived. There are people that have been affected by radiation. There are animals, like mutated animals, that have been experimented on or have evolved from radiation. It's your typical kind of wasteland sort of scenario.
So I have to watch more.
You do
to understand it more.
Yeah.
But I mean, the first episode doesn't explain shit.
Well, a lot of first episodes don't explain shit.
That's the point of the first episode, to give you the context and explain what that's gonna be about.
Maybe to give you some context, but I think the purpose of the first episode is probably more to just hook you into it in a way. So, but you get there eventually. More and more stuff comes to light, and it's a great adaptation. Of course, The Last of Us is fantastic as well. But no, I really, really liked Fallout. It was really good.
I don't hear an accent.
I definitely still have one, but I've been away a long time. I've been in Prague for 14 years, and before that I was in the UK, in London for 2 as well, so...
So you speak like this on purpose? Is it like...
No, I don't speak anyway on purpose.
Is it like an actor, when they speak American accent for a long time, then they lose the British one?
Maybe. I think it just happens, honestly. If you live somewhere for a really long time, it just happens. I mean, I'm doing this, working a lot with film and cinema stuff now, but in the past I was teaching English for many years, like a lot of foreigners here.
So the Australian accent didn't help.
So maybe, I don't know, maybe I just kind of neutralized it a little bit.
That's what I meant, yeah.
For students to understand more, but yeah, I honestly, I don't know. Yeah, sometimes people ask about it, and when I go back to Australia, people tease me about it and say, like, you're not Australian anymore, but I still am, definitely. But yeah, I don't know. I think it just happens when you're away for a really long time. I know a couple of Australians here, but not many at all, so I'm not really exposed to it that much anymore.
To keep the focus on Australia and films, so there's been a development last year that Disney is not going to be releasing any physical media in Australia anymore. Like, they cut off an entire continent. Like, that's a nice headline.
Yeah, it is.
Well, not
it's
a nice
kind
headline,
of shocking.
but, like, from journalist point of view. Are you, like, an avid physical media collector? Like, do you buy DVDs? Or?
Yeah, so here's the thing. Like, when I was a kid and a teenager, I loved collecting, well, you know, I was born in 1986, so I was raised on VHS. I was buying a lot of VHS as a kid.
I'm older than you?
You're older than me?
Yes,
How
that's
old are
news
you?
to me. I'm 93, so I'm
No, you're younger than me.
You said 96?
1986.
Oh, 1986.
Yeah.
Oh, God.
1986, so
Good.
significantly older, yeah. No, yeah, 1986. So I grew up with both my family and me buying lots of VHSs, and then I went to DVDs, and I think it's just what you did back then. You bought everything, every movie that you liked, because you
I think I had
no way of watching it,
I just
really.
rented them.
We rented a lot too, and that's something I miss a lot. I really miss the renting culture. Even when it moved to DVDs, it was still great. But yeah, I mean, when I moved over here, I left all of my stuff in Australia, and I got rid of a lot of it. But now I've decided to start collecting Blu-rays, which I've been doing for a few years now, just to have that great quality for films that only films that I really, really love, that I really want, or films by certain directors. And I actually bought a few this morning, and because with streaming, it's, I don't know, there's too much choice today, and I'm gonna sound like an old millennial and very annoying, but for me there's too much choice with streaming. It's both, you know. There's too many choices, and then you can never find what you actually want. It's just insane.
Yes.
And for some of the more obscure stuff, or not even obscure, just older stuff that's never been remastered or just made better to be able to put on streaming, there's no way of getting it now. So I need to buy this stuff to have it, to be able to watch it.
So to go back to renting, there is still a place in Prague where you can go and rent DVDs and Blu-rays.
Where is it? I didn't even know that.
It's at Kino Mat.
Oh, okay. Oh, yeah. Okay, I know. I didn't know that you could rent there. I thought you could just buy from there.
And it's just like...
That's cool.
It's like 30 crowns a piece. It's the same price as it's always been.
Oh, cool.
So I think you should...
I'll check it out. You should do a show there. That'd be great.
I do wanna do like a video, at least just like so people know about it, because I think it's like one of the last in
it must be.
Central Europe, definitely. I don't know if other parts of Europe have like.
That's so cool. I definitely need to check it out. So
the main problem with streaming is how much you have no ownership of it.
Yeah.
I mean, that was an issue in gaming as well. I don't remember the company, but it was a last year issue as well. So a lot of fans they bought the games and they had them in that catalog online, and then they had just like a week notice, and they told them, oh, you know, we're getting rid of this catalog. We're not. We don't have license over it anymore. And I mean, you didn't have ever either. And I think that's the main issue. So you don't own anything. Plus censorship. as happened with like some TV shows, like some episodes that are off the
Mhm,
streaming, or they cut just like seconds out of it or something. Like
Mhm.
there was a thing with French Connection.
Mhm.
They cut off a couple seconds from this Popeye speech, from Gene Hackman's speech,
Mhm.
and I mean, Gene Hackman's character in French Connection isn't very likable,
Yeah.
but I mean
I think Gene Hackman just isn't very likable in general.
But I love Gene Hackman, but yeah, he plays detestable
Yeah.
characters. But in that one, he's a bit of a racist. And they cut off those couple seconds to make him look less racist. But I mean, like, that's the point.
That's
You're not
silly
supposed to
to
love
me.
the guy.
Yeah, exactly.
And if you perhaps show him as a racist, then
Yeah.
that's the
Yeah,
point.
I hate this kind of censorship, honestly, and unless it's like really real propaganda, you know, and it's on purpose and it's trying to like get you to think something, then of course not. But in films, yeah, as you said, it's part of a character, and I think even the older films, I remember there was talk about, you know, censoring parts of films, even like Gone with the Wind. And of course today we all know why Gone with the Wind is not a great representation, because it is quite racist and there are a lot of problems with it, but of course as a kid I loved it and I still love it as a film. And I think
It's a film you should see at least once.
Absolutely, and I think you need to watch it with that context, knowing why there was a problem with it. Maybe there can be a disclaimer or something, which I've noticed they've started doing on some streaming services.
I think they need to be thought about as well, because then you have the disclaimer in front of 101 Dalmatians,
Yeah,
and it's
yeah.
about smoking.
Oh yeah, that's
But
too far to me.
But she's trying to murder puppies.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
So maybe
A
you
disclaimer
should
about
warn
smoking
the
is.
audience
I
about
mean,
that, or
a disclaimer about smoking. So they must have to do every movie then. I mean, that's just crazy to me.
They
but
didn't allow Colin Farrell to smoke as the Penguin in the Batman, so he has the cigar.
Okay.
It's not lit or something.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe he fought his way to get it done.
Yeah, that's.
I don't know.
That to me is
I don't know,
way too
people
far.
smoke.
But a
Nobody smokes in Prague.
yeah.
I don't, but
I think, yeah, a disclaimer kind of saying, putting things into context, you know, this film was from a different time. So I don't think you can judge films from a different time now. It's very, very different, you know.
you gotta know your history. You gotta know your history.
Exactly, yeah.
And I mean, and that's a point when I talk to like some other young screenwriters or filmmakers.
Mhm.
They don't know those films.
Mm.
They don't even watch them, and
Yeah.
it seems they don't
Yeah.
even watch the movies now.
Mhm, mhm.
And I think that's important as a filmmaker
Mhm, mhm.
to like know, hey, so this is going on. Mad Max,
Mhm,
Furiosa, whatever, Dream Scenario.
Yeah.
You gotta know what's going on, so you
Mhm.
don't kind of rip it off.
Yeah, so you don't rip it off,
Subconsciously.
and you learn. I think you learn, and you get inspired, absolutely. There was something I was going to say, and I've completely lost my train of thought. But, oh, yeah, it was to do with streaming. Yeah, I think one good thing, there are good things about streaming, for sure. But I think one really good thing is that it's made watching some films easier. It's given you access to more films, I suppose, in a way. And being able to buy stuff on digital, I suppose that's also good. And people today that are studying film or even interested in film, they have a way to watch many, many films, which I never had access to as a kid in the video store. Like when I moved to Europe, I'd seen a couple of European films, but I'd never seen a film by Ingmar Bergman. I'd never seen anything like that. This really typical European stuff. And now, you know, younger people, students, they can watch that like that whenever they want. And I think that's good in a way. But I also think that we lose a lot of films from streaming.
I think there's still like a flaw in the easier argument.
Mm-hmm.
So, for example, I wanna show a Czech film
Mm-hmm.
to somebody in the U.S.
Mm-hmm.
It's not possible.
It's not. Yeah,
they
you need
cannot
physical.
watch it with English subtitles.
Mhm.
Nothing.
Yeah,
It's betraying
Mhm.
the purpose of the internet.
Yeah, yeah.
I should be able to tell you, hey,
Mhm.
so there's this great sci-fi comedy.
Mhm.
It's made in the 70s.
Yeah.
It's absolutely amazing. I want you to watch it.
Mhm. Mhm.
I have no way to
Mhm.
show it to you.
Yeah, yeah,
Unless
exactly.
you speak
yeah.
the language. And I think that's
Yeah.
the same thing with, that was the example here, of course,
Mhm.
local, but I don't know, Spain. You're
Yeah.
still gonna get like
Yeah, absolutely.
like 2% of
Mhm.
what you can watch from Spain and watch
Yeah.
it, you know, in English or in my
Mhm,
case,
mhm.
for example, with Czech subtitles or whatever.
Yeah,
So
that's yeah.
I think that should be improved upon. Like I want to watch
Definitely.
whatever,
hmm
but I
Yeah,
can't.
that's why I like physical media in that sense, because then I buy these films if I can find them, to have them, because I know that I probably won't find them on streaming anytime soon. So I think that's why it's very, very important. And yeah, before I was talking about this choice, having too many choices, that's one thing I don't like, having too many choices right in the moment, and it's so easy for people to start watching something but not really be watching it, and then change it to something else, and there are so many series, and it's just it's an overload for me. It's an absolute information overload, and I miss going to a video store, renting a VHS, DVD, whatever, and that's it. You have that film for the night, and you have to watch it, and you watch it, and you enjoy it or you don't enjoy it, but you definitely get more out of it, I think, because you are 100% focused on it.
Yep.
And not distracted by many other things on the internet. And yeah, I know I sound old now, but
Why does
that's what I
that
think. I
happen?
miss
like
it.
when you take a disc and you pop it in,
Mm.
or you have a book, like you
Mhm.
focus on the book or
Yeah,
whatever.
yeah.
Why does that happen that you get focused on it,
Mm.
as apart from, oh, I'm gonna just
Mhm.
click on this video here on streaming and
Yeah, I think because, well, first of all, you only have that one video or that one book.
to wrap it up.
Mm-hmm.
What's a favorite film of yours from this
Okay,
year
yeah, so...
that you've seen so far?
Mm-hmm. I was thinking
it's
about
vague.
that. I would have to say two. One of them is All of Us Strangers, directed by Andrew Haigh, with Andrew Scott and Paul Mescal. It was beautiful, beautiful, beautiful film, love story. Also a big story about grief. So that was huge to me. It really, really affected me a lot. One of my parents passed away recently, so watching that film, it really put things into perspective, and it's stunning. I recommend that everybody sees this film, and it's now on Disney Plus, so everyone can watch it there.
Haven't seen it, and
Oh, you
sorry
have to, yeah.
I mean, hear that.
No,
But,
it's
I mean,
okay.
it's
No
good
problem.
that
Yeah.
a film how
Exactly. Well, that's why we have films. I think they definitely help with stuff like that. That sounds really
it's how we
cheesy, but I think it's
how we
true.
relate
Yeah.
to the world.
Yeah.
That's how we know you.
Absolutely.
You can figure out
Mhm.
how the people work and
Yeah.
who you are. And
Yeah, and I think
Stuff like
everyone
that.
can relate to this film in some way. It's very, very beautiful. And then the other one would be something I watched on digital, which was Late Night with the Devil, this new horror movie, which
Still haven't seen
unfortunately
that.
isn't here in cinemas. I wish that it was, but it's had quite a limited release, I think. But you can rent it now on digital to watch, and it was great. It was a really, really good, a really fun horror movie that feels very 70s. It's set in the 70s during a late night talk show. It's sort of a found footage in a way. What you see is the actual talk show, as if you're watching it on television. And then when they cut to the commercial breaks, you see
backstage.
backstage in
All
black and
right.
white. And it's all about, that time everyone was obsessed with the occult, especially in the
I think
media.
I'm gonna watch it today.
It's fantastic, and David Dasmalchian, who is the main talk show host.
I know it's one of his first lead.
It is,
Yeah.
yeah, and I read an article the other day saying that he's going to be the new Vincent Price, and I really hope that he is, because he's so cool, and I know that he's really into horror as well. So definitely check
I
that
think
out.
my favorite film this year has been Civil War from outer space.
I haven't seen it, but
Still haven't seen it?
no.
I'm gonna recommend you go see it in a multiplex though.
I'm definitely gonna go and see it. Yeah.
Incredible.
Yeah. I can't wait to see it. Where I'm going to have a screening of it here with the Q&A in a couple of weeks. So obviously I have to go and see it, but I would go and see it anyway. I love Alex Garland. He's fantastic.
I'm sad to hear he's considering again to retire.
Me too, but I'm a bit confused about that because it was like he was going to retire, but then apparently people kind of twisted his words a bit, and I think he was thinking about it, or maybe he's thinking about
I don't know. We could
stopping directing and just writing.
Our words are twisted here as well.
Yeah,
you know?
Hopefully not. But yeah, I hope he doesn't because I love his stuff.
He's gonna write.
But at the same time, if he doesn't want to, whatever, that's fine. I mean, he's made incredible films that even before he started directing. I mean, the stuff he did with Danny Boyle, like The Beach, 28 Days Later, Sunshine, Dread,
Ex Machina is,
all this stuff.
To this day, one of the best sci-fi films we have.
That's really good. I love all his films, but I think I like Annihilation the most out of his films. It's really, really special for me. Really? Wow. Yeah, I loved it.
Why? It just seemed like so run of the mill and like.
Yeah.
I've seen it before.
I loved it.
That's how I felt.
People were saying it's like trying to be Stalker and it's trying to be a bunch of different things, and I don't know. Maybe to me it was a mix of all of these things, but it was beautiful. I really liked it.
It was again a film about grief, though.
Yeah, well, for me it wasn't so much about grief. It was about like cancer. I think cancer or self-destruction. For me, it was a very beautiful movie about cancer, about something horrible.
Okay, maybe I'll give it another try. I think that's all the time we have, so...
Cool, okay. Well,
thank you for being here.
Thank you for coming, and thank you for having me. It was a great chat.
Thank you for letting us
of
be in
course.
this beautiful space.
Anytime. Thanks.
Alright, see you at the movies.
Yeah.